Blog Talk Radio.
All you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing happens to work. You know anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything you can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Keep them showing up at those jobs.
They're all the same. I'll show you politics in America. Here it is, right here. I think the puppet on the right shares my beliefs. I think the puppet on the left is more to my liking. Hey, wait a minute. There's one guy holding up both puppets. Shut up. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control.
I have this feeling, man, because you know there's a handful of people actually run everything. That's true. It's provable. It's not I'm not a conspiracy nut. It's provable. Handful, very small elite run and own these corporations, which include the mainstream media. I have this feeling who's ever elected president, like Clinton was, no matter what your promises you promise on the campaign trail, blah, 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 when you win, you go into this smoky room with the 12 industrialist, capitalist scumfucks who got you in there, and you're in this smoky room, and this little film screen comes down, and a big guy in a cigar rolled the film, and it's a shot of the Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. It looks suspiciously off the grassy knoll, and then the screen goes up, and the lights come up, and they go to the new president. Any questions? Just what my agenda is. First we bomb Baghdad. You got it.
What if the American people woke up and understood that the official reasons for going to war are almost always based on lies and promoted by war propaganda in order to serve special interests? What if we as a nation came to realize that the quest for empire eventually destroys all great nations? What if the American people learned the truth?
The FBI has foiled about 17 plots to kill Americans during the past 10 years. What it will not tell you is that there have been 20 foiled plots, and of them, 3 were interrupted by members of the public. The 17 that were interrupted by the feds were created by the feds. Why do we pay the government to trick us into believing it is keeping us safe? What if a government that manipulated us could be fired? What if a government that lacked the true and knowing consent of the governed could be dismissed? What if it were possible to have a real game changer? What if we need a Ron Paul to preserve and protect our freedoms from the government? What if we could make elections matter again? What if you could love your country but hate what the government has done to it? What if sometimes to love your country you had to alter or abolish the government? What if Jefferson was right? What if that government is best which governs least? What if I'm right? What if the government is wrong? What if it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong? What if it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave? What if freedom's greatest hour of danger is now?
It's critical that every citizen of this country rise up and do something, because the day of reckoning is at hand and time is running out.
Unless we do something, we're going to get the government that we deserve.
How did you let this happen? Wake up out there. You know, it's your children. Don't you care? Look what these people are doing to you.
There are 200 million adults in this country. Why we are letting them get away with what they are, why we're not marching in the streets.
Do everything in your power to restore freedom
and your individuality back to America. Stop being a country run by the institutions for the institutions. Let's go back to we the people, by the people, for the people.
We have to stop being scared. We have to stand up and do what's necessary to take back, to stop these bankers, these elite, this government full of lies, congressmen full of liars.
And the Federal Reserve. And the fractional banking system. And the Fed. Elect Ron Paul. And the war.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You, the people, have the power. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, let us all unite!
All right, everybody. Joseph Gibson podcasting here, understanding the times in which we live today. I'm going to turn it over shortly here to the Republic, and then everybody else who wants to participate in the podcast here tonight will get a voice, and if you want a voice, you will have one. All you have to do is call in at 657-383-0616, press the number 1 on your telephone, and you'll be connected, live. Go ahead. I'm turning it over to the Republic. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Joseph. Welcome, everybody, to Restoring Your Republic. You know, what if we could fire everybody? Oh, well, then that would just be wonderful because we make sure we got all the crooks, but then there's nobody to govern. And what does that picture look like? And so in an effort to think out of the box and look forward a little bit, we'd like to introduce you to the concept of restoring your republic lawfully and peacefully, enjoying the freedoms that is ours by the laws of nature and of nature's God. We live in perilous times. We see things happening around us that just don't make sense, and when they don't make sense, then there's something that follows that comes along that enables the first one to be even more catastrophic, like this situation with the oil reserves. Biden and our administration, their handlers, are gradually taking us to the point of where Europe is, where they have absolutely no energy, except we have the ability to produce our energy if we're just allowed to do so. So when are we, the people, going to step forward and take control of our destiny rather than abdicating it or giving someone else the authority to run our lives for us? At what point do we Americans finally say enough is enough? And we're getting close. Everybody's concentrating on that subject, and very few are looking forward into the future to see what a lawful governance of, for, and by the people under our Constitution and the laws of nature, nature's God, really looks like. So, welcome to the conversation tonight. Justice Waters from the Free State of Indiana. Welcome, sir. What do you bring to the table?
Well, thank you, Governor. Hello, America. We are the Republic for the United States of America. We are the ones that brought back to life the founding documents, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. We're the ones that are holding the seats for all of the government to work, the three-branch government. We're holding those seats for you, the American people. The only thing left to happen is for you, the people, to want it. Tonight, I'm going to change course a little bit, and I'm going to give a warning. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because all my life, especially in church, I've been told, don't talk about this, don't talk about that. If you say something about this, it's going to scare people. going to frighten people, and we don't want to do that. And yet the warning must be given. Without the warning, there's no preparation. And with no preparation, when the event takes place, well, everybody's gone. They weren't prepared. Now, they prepared as much as they could down in Fort Myers. They knew a storm was coming. A lot of people didn't leave, and we see the results now, don't we? Every time a major disaster happens in this country, there are people who decide it's not that bad, and they prepare just a little, and then they pay the consequence. Well, people, it's time to wake up. In America, I want you to understand something. Every time this nation in the 20th century went to war, first of all, it was all based because of a lie. Now, in the early 2000s, we got into the Iraq War. After the first one was based on a lie. Remember Dick Cheney sitting in front of the UN Security Council, holding up that little vial of anthrax, telling them that much would kill just about everybody in America. And Saddam has hundreds of barrels of it, not including he's got barrels of mass destruction weaponry. And when we went in, we couldn't hardly find anything. We found billions of dollars, and I literally mean U.S. Notes from the Federal Reserve sitting on pallets in storehouses. But we didn't find what we went in to look for, all based on a lie. Then 9/11, based on a lie. How can a pilot from Saudi Arabia claim to be dead by our president and our government and yet make flights from Saudi Arabia to New York twice a week? Now, he's supposed to be dead. He's supposed to have flied that one plane into the towers, but yet he's still making flights. How is that? Everything that we get involved in war is based because of a lie. There's another point you need to understand. When the people get strong and united and they begin to stand up against our own government, have you noticed World War I, World War II, Vietnam, the Iraqi War, all these wars were started because the American people were beginning to stand up as one voice, and somebody had to shut them up. They couldn't have that. Welcome to democracy, because that's what democracy is. The few overrule the many. A republic that we are is where you, the people, you run the show. You run everything. Everything goes through the people. In a democracy, everything is done to the people without the people's consent. First you have a republic, then you have a democracy, and then you lead into socialism. Have you noticed the Biden administration and what they're doing? Have you noticed the Democrats in the House and the Senate, what they're doing? If you go back to, let's just say the Soviet Union, boy, there's a lot of similarities there. That's what they're wanting. Everything done by executive order, all power given to one man who can't even get off the stage by himself. And by God, we know there are two of him. He's got a body double. All you have to do is look at the ears and listen to the talk. There are days he can just talk real fluent, and there are days he can't get 3 words in a row out. Look at the difference in the facial features and the hairline and the back of the neck. That will tell you everything you need to know. There's a body double there. Why? Because you and I, as people of this country, are getting played. Everyone's confused today because they hear a story here and a story there, and it's two different stories about the same event. That's planned. Meanwhile, Russia, with Putin, he's threatening the world with a nuclear strike on Ukraine. Now, do you actually believe for 1 minute that if one nuclear tactical weapon went into the Ukraine, took out Kyiv, took out all those people and the surrounding area, that that's where it would stop? Do you really believe that? You got Poland sitting there. You got other countries that belong to NATO, and now all of a sudden, well, here we go. Talked to a friend of mine in Norfolk, Virginia, just earlier yesterday, and he tells me that in the piers there at Norfolk, which is the world's largest naval base, by the way, I was stationed there for 6 years, they have a set of piers for the nuclear submarines. They have 3 Ohio class and 2 new subs. They're as big now as an aircraft carrier in length. They're massive things. The Ohio class, for instance, can carry 18 Polaris missiles. A Polaris missile can carry as many as 12 separate warheads, 12 targets. That means when one flies, it's 12 targets. And we got 18 of those in one Ohio-class sub. Well, guess what? There is not one nuclear-powered submarine in Norfolk today. They're all out. There's only one reason why the U.S. Navy takes all their nuclear-powered submarines out in the ocean at one time. Only one reason. They're going to war. That's the only reason for that. It's never happened. Never. Until now. But that's the war plan. 6 aircraft carriers are docked at Norfolk. None of them pierside. All of them gone. With each aircraft carrier comes 12 other ships. That means there's a lot of ships with nuclear-powered aircraft carriers with the subs at sea. But you also got to remember something. Russia has their subs just 4 or 5 miles off our coast. And that's a scary thought. We got an anniversary coming up, folks. Now, to most people, this probably means nothing. To those of us that understand history, it means everything, because in 4 days, it will be the 22nd of October. That is the 60th anniversary of the Cuban Missile Crisis, when Khrushchev of the Soviet Union and President Kennedy stood toe-to-toe and gave blows to each other for 13 days. That's a very important number, 13. You got to understand this. In the world of the Illuminati, 13 is one of the more powerful numbers they use. In war, it's also a very powerful number. In brigades, troops, I mean, it goes on and on and on with how they use that number. Well, in 4 days, we may see something in this world take place that we would hope we would never see. It's an anniversary, and we do know that our enemies love to work their magic on their anniversaries. That's a day that the Soviet Union had to step down, bow down, and walk away. And Khrushchev and the Soviet Union in that day never wanted to do that. And by the way, Putin was a young boy in school in Moscow at that time, and he remembers it very well. He's been threatening the United States with nuclear strikes. Now, you better take note to this. You better beware of this, because the news isn't really covering it. Fox has covered it a little bit. But most of the news outlets, they just kind of, they threatened this, and then they go into another story. They don't let you know anything. Back when I was a kid in school in first and second grade, we were doing bomb drills, diving under desks because of it. Well, I'm going to give you some info tonight. You take heed to this. What happens during a nuclear blast? You need to know this. You got a few days here to digest this and understand. You better read this. If it's ever transcript anywhere, you better listen to this over and over and over, write it down, get to know it, because you're going to need it. And I don't care where in this country you live, you're in danger. If a nuclear blast happens in your area, more than likely it would be a 300 kiloton range. The fireball itself would be 0.7 of a mile from the center of the target in all directions. Nothing survives. The moderate blast, or the secondary blast, would go out 2.6 miles from the center. Every building would be blown down, trees would be uprooted, and probably blown and moved hundreds of feet. Most buildings would collapse. Thermal radiation, or a third-degree burn, would be outwards of 13 miles from the center, 26 miles across in diameter. For instance, if a 300 kiloton weapon was to hit downtown New York City, Times Square area, 9.6 million people would die instantly. 4.1 million would be dead within an hour, and 4.2 million would have injuries, and those injuries would be radiation sickness, and they would be dead within a month. In Chicago, it would be 3.7 million dead instantly, 200 million dead in an hour, and 2 more million injured with radiation sickness, and then dead within a month. And it goes on and on and on. It's not a pleasant thing to think about. But what are you supposed to do if a bomb goes off? Well, there may be no warning, none whatsoever. The American government website, ready.gov, warns a nuclear explosion may occur with or without a few-minute warning. That is why it's a good idea to prepare ahead of the time. Once a missile is fired, say, from a Russian sub, and it's going to hit somewhere on the eastern side of the nation, east of the Mississippi, how long do you have? 10 to 12 minutes at best. There's little hope of survival for those closest to the bomb. If one detonates, say, within 2 miles of your area, you may live, you may regret living, but if you see or know that it's going to be hitting somewhere close to you, you get inside a structure quickly. Now, make sure you get inside a structure that is brick or steel enclosed. Don't go into a wooden structure if you're within the blast radius, because you won't make it. Fallout is the next thing you got to worry about. Fallout doesn't just happen right where the bomb went off. Fallout could go 200-300 miles downrange, depending upon the wind and the wind direction. This is why you need to know the wind direction, how strong it's blowing. If you live 500 miles from a major impact and the wind blows in your direction from that impact, you're going to be impacted with fallout, radiation, and so forth the next day. You might want to take note of that. If you're outside when a blast takes place, you get inside, and the first thing you do is you remove the clothing you had on. Do not burn it. The radiation doesn't burn. What you do if you burn it, you just spread it everywhere in the house. You put them in a plastic bag, zip it up, tie it off, and throw it outside and never touch it again. You do not rub your eyes. You don't blow your nose. You don't put your fingers in your mouth. You do nothing of the sort. If you got to blow your nose, blow it in such a way that you don't use your hands. You shelter inside a building. If you know that a blast is about to take place within your area, don't get next to the wall. Get in the center of the building. This is not a tornado. This is 1,000 times worse. You keep your pets inside as well, even if they're pets that stay outside. Bring them in. You're going to need to stay inside at least 72 hours. Do not go outside. Do not breathe the air outside. Do not drink the tap water. Do not do anything on the outside at all. Don't cut your grass. Don't go swimming in your swimming pool. You'd be surprised the stupidity of people in America because they've been dumbed down. This is a weapon that will kill you every way it can. You better make sure you've got a lot of batteries and radios that operate on batteries, because you will not have cable TV, you will not have streaming devices, you will not have internet to stream. If you have any radio, it will probably be ham radio or shortwave. So make sure whatever radio you have, make sure that it is capable of picking up those kind of airwaves, and do everything you can to make sure that you have a solar-powered radio. So you can put it out in the sunlight and it will power itself up. Because if you do have batteries, there's a chance they won't work. When it comes to food, you can only eat packaged food. Now, does everybody understand what packaged food is? It's not a bag of chips. That's not packaged food. Packaged food is where you literally have to cut the thing open to get the food out. You don't want to eat fresh food from the outside, of course. What you want to eat is stuff that's in a plastic bag. If it's inside your refrigerator and it's packaged, it'll be good. Do not eat canned goods. Radiation will go through the walls. It will go into the cans. And when you eat that canned good, you get radiation poisoning. You can't eat canned stuff. There's a lot to understand, I know. If you get injured, I doubt seriously that the authorities are going to be able to come help you. They may not be around. They may be incinerated. Think about Fort Myers and what it was like.
Hello?
Huh?
Here's a point of order real quick. Yeah, that's pretty good, Roger, but then now, as far as the supplies go and, and that stuff there, I mean, everyone on here knows, if we have a nuclear war, I mean,
There's a lot of people in America that don't know.
Yeah, well, those are the ones that we can't save anyway. So and really, I don't want them around after the blast either. You know. I mean, if they're not awake now and know what's going on, maybe after the blast, it might do us a favor. So,
yeah.
But when is this nuclear war? I mean, let's get to the real pinpoint of all this with this Putin thing and the threats of nuclear war and whatnot. I mean, where are you picking this up at as far as through the military, your friends in the military and the chatter in the military? Obviously, all news leaks out. You can't keep a secret. 10 people can't keep a secret amongst themselves today, and
right.
without it going worldwide. So, where is this coming? Where are we getting this from? This rumors of nuclear war.
Well, first of all, I have two friends in the Norfolk area. One works in the dry dock area over in Portsmouth, and the other one works with the Navy Department. He's a civilian. Used to be in the Navy with me, so he's first hands there. He lets me know periodically what's going on as far as ships that are there, that are gone. Sometimes he has a better understanding of what's going on pier side than most people do that just, they just go to work and don't pay attention to what's going on. Anybody interested, Norfolk Naval Base employs over 140,000 civilians. So it's a huge place. That doesn't include the military itself. So it's a huge place. A lot going on there. That's the Hampton Roads area, and that would be a first strike area that would get hit, probably with about a 50 megaton blast, which is far greater than what I'm talking about now. We get stuff from the Pentagon that comes out over emails. I get stuff from different places online. Now, I'm not talking about Joe Blow over in some state who has an opinion thing. I'm talking about generals who write to the public. They talk to the public. They don't tell you every little thing going on, but they give you little hints here and there. And if you've been in the military, you pick up those hints real quick.
Roger, hang on. Why? Why they got to give us little hints? Why? I mean, we're big boys here. Why can't people that in the know, who are friends of in the know, why can't we just say, hey, this is what's going to happen? Why has it always got to be? Well, I'm going to be around the 24th. It could happen, and this could happen, and kind of like the Q thing. Come on. Why not just? This is what's going to happen, or this is what we're planning, or this could happen.
I'm not talking about those kind of hints. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if all the nuclear subs are gone at one time in Norfolk, that's a major event taking place for something.
And that happened last year, remember? Remember it happened last year with all the ships that were deported. It went out because of China. They all were racing towards China, remember? Oh, China. Remember, they were coming down from the Canada border, remember? They were going to invade New Hampshire, Vermont, and everything, and, nothing happened. I'm just saying is that this is what really why we lose, or not us, or many patriot communities around the country and networks lose credibility when we start, the end is here. It's coming, but yet nothing happens. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there because that's what a lot of feedback I get. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. However, one thing that you learn in the military is you prepare for everything and hope that nothing does happen. If you don't prepare and something does, then that's your fault. But, the people that spill garbage 24 hours a day, nobody listens to them today because yesterday they said something that it was going to happen and it's going to happen on such date, and then it doesn't, then you're right, they lose credibility. However, when you get 3 or 4 high-ranking retired generals talking and saying the same thing, you might want to take notice to it. These aren't the ones that are on TV that you see on CNN, Fox, or whatever. These are ones that stay off the airwaves. They do it purposely because, well, they get a pension. And if they say something that, you know, the White House doesn't like, with the leadership that we got nowadays, they can either disappear or their pension disappears.
Well, hang on now. Wait a second now. They're retired generals. I don't think they're too scared of the White House. I mean, you know, look, we're not scared.
They're scared
you know,
to keep
I mean,
their
if something's going to happen and I know about it, and I'm going to let my people know, you know, especially my family and friends that are in the know, who are, you know, of course I'm not going to go to the local grocery store and start spouting it off while I'm standing in line to a bunch of zombies, but I'm going to talk to the people in the know. You know, I'm going to say, hey guys, you know, next Friday, you know, you need to watch out because this is going to happen, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say here. We're all big boys here. We all put our pants on the same way, and we can handle the truth, and that's what I'm saying. Is we just want the facts put out there to where, you know, look, all this fear-mongering, I'm not saying you, I'm not saying what you said, but a lot of this is going on now with the fear-mongering. You know, November 6th, you know, November 6th, Trump's going to ride down with his horse and carriage, and here he comes. He's going to be the Speaker of the House. Remember that one? He's going to be Speaker of the House, and then he's going to be President again. You know, I mean, you know, all this nonsense, you know. I mean, it gets tiresome, and it takes away
that conversation never happened on our watch, Joe. You're quoting other people and bringing other people's opinions into what we've shared tonight as our opinion. So if you have, please allow us a platform to share our opinion. You sound like my left brothers talking to me through a third party, and all they do is they dominate the conversation by fault finding and accusations that are no more grounded than maybe Justice Waters' opinion. So, lighten up a little bit, brother.
Jim, I'm not saying that. You're taking it and you're running off and you're going off the
well, we never said that President Trump was going to be Speaker of the House.
Did I say you did? Did I say you did?
Well, to the average listening audience, it would have been, this is more of these guys' rhetoric. No, I want to make it clear to the American public. We never said that.
Hang on. To the average listening, you're right, and those people are listening. That's right. But you know what? I don't care what they think and what they say. I'm speaking to people who are in the know, who know what's going on. So you know where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to say. So don't take it that way. What I'm saying is that what we're doing is that we have to be careful to fall into that psyop, like that Q stuff, and start listening to these things that are not true. And then we can really easily hop on that wagon, you know?
All right. Well, Joe, then I guess we need to make an agreement here. And the agreement is that we stand under the First Amendment. And we have a reason and we have a calling in our own personal walk to share information at a certain time. And there's information we can't share at any time until given the okay to share it. So that's our lives and everybody's lives that's in this battle. So if you want to listen, and Justice Waters just give you the facts. So far, he hasn't given you an opinion. Everything he stated is you go on the maps, you look at where the military is, where the flights are going, where the Navy's stationed, and they have apps and publications. You can look at that. And Justice Waters is just saying these are the facts. Okay? So if you don't like the facts, I'm sorry.
I think you're misinterpreting the point I was trying to bring up. I wasn't talking about what Justice Waters was saying. I was referring to the comments that I'm getting and you're not getting it again. I've explained this to you many, many times already. I listen to what the chatter is, what other people are saying. I'm addressing the listeners out there. You act like I'm addressing you. You know, so I don't understand why you would do that.
And I'm addressing the listeners too. So we're all in this conversation, okay? And really, I'd rather be talking about solutions.
Exactly.
But everybody wants to be talking about all this other stuff.
Up too, Jim, by the way, we got people waiting with their hands up too. I just want to let everybody know that, okay?
So I'll yield to Justice Waters, and he can finish up what he had to say, and then we'll go take some hands.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, you know, there are dates on the calendar that different secret societies use, and now we have a date, the 22nd of October, an anniversary date of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Be aware of that date. Watch what's going on. Be prepared at all times. If you live in Florida in hurricane season, you're prepared 7 months of the year for a hurricane, whether you see one or not. I know that. My mom lives down there, been there for over 22 years. That's the way life is there. America has gotten lax, and remember in World War II, my mom telling me that every time she went outside and heard a plane, everybody would look up and see what kind of plane it was. We were at war. Folks, whether you realize it or not, whether you like it or not, we are at war right now. We've been at war for 2 years. It's just our Congress in D.C. has not actually declared it on anybody, but they have declared it upon us. It started with the pandemic. That's called biological warfare. Now we're going to chemical warfare, the fentanyl and the drugs coming up through the southern border. We are at war, folks. You better put on your war cap. You better put on your thinking of a hat of wartime. If you've been in the military, you know what I'm talking about. And this is my warning to you. We're getting close to something happening in this world, and we're going to get drawn into it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the leadership of what we have now in this country doesn't have the feet to stand up. They only have the knees to kneel down to whoever says, kneel to me. That's who they are.
That's why you're the leadership. That's why we're the leadership.
That's exactly right. That's why we come to you week in, week out, and pray to you that we need you to stand up for this republic, get involved with us, get on our website that Dean is going to tell you about, and become one of us. Because when you do that, you don't become something I started. You become involved in something our founding fathers started back 260 years ago. And it's important that we do this, because the only way you're going to get your country back, and no, you don't have your country now. They got it. You need to take it back. And the only way to do that is to become part of something that becomes so big they get scared and go hide in the hills. And that's exactly what will happen one day. And it will either be because they're scared of us or they're scared of China. One or the other. I want it to be scared of us. Because if they are, that means we take the reins of this country back, and the rest of the world will leave us alone. Because we will be powerful, we will be mighty, and we will be just once again. But that only happens when you, the American people, want the truth to rule this nation again. Governor, I yield back to you.
You're right, Justice, and that means that we need people at the school board, we need people at the local level, we need militia, we need representatives, we need to occupy as one party under oath to serve our Constitution and the people that we represent. All those need to be filled. And if they're not filled by the people that are listening to this radio tonight, they're not listening and acting, then they're not part of the solution. Your heart may be in the right place. And so we need to get organized, and we need to just peacefully take this thing over and get on with it. If we don't, it's going to be given to us, and we ain't going to like that.
Amen.
Mr. Haney, would you tell us how to get involved in our republic?
And then we'll
It's
take
my
calls.
pleasure.
Everybody.
Thank you, Governor Carpenter of the Free State of Colorado. Appreciate your insight and sharing with the American people. And Justice Waters, thank you for helping to clarify what could happen in our country and how to protect ourselves if this nuclear war does happen. And we've heard our gentleman in Washington, Biden, had threatened with nuclear war. So, it's the words out there, the rhetoric's out there, they're rattling their sabers. The nuclear subs are out. Even Russia has sent their nuclear Poseidon nuclear submarine out also. So it's very possible. So just take this with what Justice Waters said is a friendly, brotherly love for everybody in our country, that we stand together, unified. America, go to the Republic for United States of America.org. Get involved. Join our email list. Donate to the Republic. More ways you can help. Volunteer your skills. We need to get together. There's many mutual supported groups that support the Republic. You can read that list online. I was just trying to draw it up here. There's many. There's a whole list here. Black Robe Regiment, the Family Research Council, Veteran Defenders of America, Stand Up America, Oath Keepers, Minuteman Project, and the list goes on and on. I mean, there's many groups that support your republic, and it's Governor Carpenter was saying we, and it's we the people. We are part of all of us. We all stand together. Stand united. Go in there's another tab there. It's about the executive summary. You can read there and read the disclaimer. Read that executive summary. There's a resource library on that website. There's many things there. I can rattle on for hours about this. There's a proclamation of claim of interest that you can read from our website at Republic for United States of America. It was presented to the United States of America Joint Chiefs of Staff, the International Court of Justice, the Universal Postal Union, the UPU, United Nations, the UN, and it was served on the Hague, the Declaration of Sovereign Intent. So we have done everything here in law for all Americans. We need to stand united together and just put down our differences and stand firm together. Our founding fathers used the Bible as a biblical law form here in America, and they used that law form to write our Constitution, Bill of Rights, and our Declaration of Independence. It's so important that we read those documents and understand them, and we all need to pray. The only ones I kneel to would be our Father God and His Son Jesus Christ, and we need to stand together united here in America. Dave and Jean Hertler have written 2 books for us. One is Re-Inhabited Republic for the United States of America, Volume 1, America's Truthful History. And Volume 2 is Re-Inhabited Republic for the United States of America, the story of the re-inhabitation. You can order those books at reinhabitedrepublic.com, amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. Get those books and read them. What a great read. They take a while to read, but they're awesome. I thank Dave and Jean for writing those. There's another book that was written by Jean Hertler, is James Timothy Turner, An American President and a Political Prisoner, and a Legal Brief, An Appeal to the Courts of Heaven. That's our brother, founding president, James Timothy Turner. He's still incarcerated. Please pray for him. And you can also help support James Timothy Turner. You can go to the national website, republicforunitedstatesamerica.org. America, it's time that we educate yourself and take control of this great American republic that our forefathers left for us to protect and enjoy. We are holding your seats and the title to America's republic. You just need to want it back and take ownership of your part and spread the word, America. Let's all stand in peace and united together. I yield. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Amen, everybody. All right. We got some callers here on the phone line here. Want to jump in here? Everybody's been patient. I appreciate that. I apologize for wait, but go down the line here. Go down first. 305. You go first.
That was Mike. Mike from Washington. Go ahead. That's Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Joseph. It's Mike with the RighteousArmy.org.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Can you hear me? Hey,
yes,
good.
Mike. We can.
And I guess I'll just put out for the record. nationalmilitianetwork.com, points and forwards to righteousarmy.org, and militiausa.org, points and forwards to righteousarmy.org. It's a pretty self-explanatory website. I frankly think that the last two meetings we had, 38 and 39, which was pretty much me harping on everything that's been done so far and what my feelings are about the progress or lack thereof, are the most significant messages, that can be put out because, the way we say it is that the very tip, penetrating, piercing tip of our proverbial spear is our message, which is one of God and traditional family values and morals, morality, moral virtue, and the things that we agree upon as Americans, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, Constitution for the United States of America, those things, as well as, our unalienable or inalienable or unalienable, however you want to say it, rights that have been granted to us by our Heavenly Father, the Creator, Lord God Almighty. And then, of course, the spear itself, the spearhead, we say, is the law. The laws, common law, God's law, the Ten Commandments, the laws that essentially support our message of righteousness and morality and decency. The spear chuck, the long wooden shaft of the spear itself, is pretty darn short right now. We need a longer shaft so we can, grab a hold of it and thrust that spear into the enemy. So that's where my last couple of messages I've made the point that I'm concerned about all these different groups that exist out there, existing in a fragmented kind of way where we all need to come together. The problem is everybody on the right, center to right, so to speak, once they get involved with something, because those are the people that are, family people, business people, successful people, they all want to be the leaders. It's all about come to my website, support what I'm doing. And that's understandable. I just think that the one and only way that we can all unite, there's only a couple of banners that we can all unite under, if we, the people, was the banner, great. The militia, because that's what we are, and that's the force of us being able, in accordance with the Declaration of Independence, right? When the government becomes destructive of these ends being our peace, our safety, our happiness, our rights, then it is the right of the people to abolish that government. And frankly, the people are not going to be able to abolish any corrupt government unless they have both the law and the force on their side. And that force ultimately comes down to local community organizations and community efforts, that are ultimately in the hands of a constitutional sheriff and the posse comitatus, the people who can be deputized as militia by the sheriff. So there are efforts going on around the country with people like, Sheriff Richard Mack, trying to get all the sheriffs to recognize what their ultimate authority and power is. So those are the kinds of things we're pushing. But I do think that when we organize county to county, state to state with an office, I mean, frankly, I don't care if it's a We the People office or it's a Republic for the United States of America office. I've promoted that it should be a militia office because it's the authority. It represents the force, working in conjunction with constitutional sheriffs and with, constitutional governors. Then there's plenty of room for all these winners, all these people that are business owners and traditional family value people to still have their own efforts whereby they can, have their ego and their pride and their money and their financial gains. Because if there's 2 or 3 or 4 militia coordinators or point men and women in every county, they can certainly do many things just within a county alone by putting forth an effort to get thousands of people in a county supporting them. They can have their own community fundraising. They can have their own, shirts on behalf of the militia. And one of the things that would ultimately facilitate this, and this is another reason why, with all the work I've done so far, I always say, where are the George Soroses? Can you get them to be quiet, Pop? Where are the George? Can you shut the window or something so he'll stop barking? Where are the George Soroses for the right? Where are the? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to walk to the door and try to take care of this doggy here. Where are the George Soroses?
Live radio.
Right for the right. Yeah. So, you know, the ultimate point that I'm making is there needs to be a website, an online platform, whereby the way I've presented it with, you know, our efforts at Righteous Army is there's a online platform where people can go, they can click on their state, they can click on their county, they can, you know, they themselves can fill in their name and their first name, their last name, whether they want to be a point man, you know, for the militia or a point woman, whether they want to be involved with the Republic, you know, whatever their desire is, they can type it in, and then that automates into a list of where they stand and what they're for. I mean, no such system exists, and we need a system like that. In fact, that system should be kind of a combination of a YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you know, messaging, video uploads, you know, automated, you know, where you end up on a list of what you represent, what you stand for, and what you know, where you're going.
Mike, that is you're right. All these years, the internet. We've had the internet all these years, and we haven't. And I hear your frustration in your other videos that you put out, and I agree with you 100%. All these years, we have the internet at our fingertips, and we can't unite around the country and network together. But yet, Facebook can get 1 billion users to talk about trash. You know, I mean, this is terrible. This is terrible.
It is terrible. Yeah, I kind of opened up just by pointing out, you know, who I am, where I'm from, for the sake of putting it out there on your show. But I took some notes when Judge Waters was speaking, and you were conversing back and forth with him, and Governor James was speaking. You made some good points that I wanted to. Well, all of y'all made good points. I just want to kind of highlight on them. First of all, you know, the thing about fear-mongering, which you mentioned, Joe, is absolutely a fact that they do fear-monger. That's how they control people, ultimately, is through fear. That's what the coronavirus was all about, fear. You could die. You could kill your grandmother. You could spread it to the community. Do your part. Fear, 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 fear. That all the movies they put out, the television, everything they do in the media has underlying fear, fear, fear. It's all about fear. The devil, Satan, fallen angels, atomic blast, fear, fear. So they're all about putting fear in people. So they do fear-monger because they want people to have fear in them. However, they also, their secondary reason for putting out these, you know, messages that never come to fruition is because it's essentially crying wolf or the sky is falling, so that people drop their defenses, thereby becoming more vulnerable. So if they do want, and let me add to that William Cooper, in his book Behold a Pale Horse, he absolutely nailed it on page 167, 168, when he addressed the fact that the Club of Rome and the President's Council, there were three groups that got together, going back into the 50s and 60s, into the 70s, 80s, where they flat out concurred that we need to create some type of a bioweapon in the laboratory that we can put out into society that will cause people to become sick, especially vulnerable people, people with pre-existing conditions, something that we can target the homosexual community, target the black community, target the Hispanic community, target the vulnerable, make people sick, and make it look like it's a natural thing that occurred. He references that in his book, and he's spot on. And when you consider Agenda 2021, where they actually met, the Gates Foundation and all of these world leaders met, you know, in New York in the fall of 2019, discussing it. I mean, they admit it. They admit what they're doing. So it's all. There's no question that it's all a put-on, plandemic, scamdemic bullshit, which uses fear and manipulation and control tactics. But here's the clincher: Bill also referenced in his book, in that same pages, that while they were discussing all of these things, they said, however, we must keep nuclear weapons on the back burner. Essentially saying, because if that doesn't work, we may have to get drastic, because we have to do something about this overpopulated world. That's their position. So if you think of it in that context, it actually brings it to light when you consider, because of the works of the many people, not only what I did with the BigVirusHoax.com for 2 years, which I always brag and boast and promote as being the absolute best website on the internet, which it is, for people to learn the truth about viruses, what they are, what they're not, the science behind it, vaccines, what's in vaccines, how they're merging technology with vaccines, the whole thing of social media censorship, our rights, what our rights are, the laws that protect our rights. I mean, that website is the go-to place. I spent 2 years 24/7 putting it all together for that reason, so there would be a place for people to go. So considering that, I'm just one guy. There was numerous other people, many because of my efforts, but others because of their own research and their own efforts, like Dr. Kaufman and Dr. Cowan and Amanda Vollmer in Canada and Tom Barnett in Australia and Dr. Stefan Lanka in Germany, and people from all around the world started, opening their eyes and looking into this whole virus bullshit, but this virus hoax, this virus BS, this fabrication, this strategically fabricated, cleverly concocted, cunningly crafted, devilishly devised scam. More and more people are waking up to it, and because of the alternative platforms, BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey and Brighteon and YouTube, then they're sharing all this information because we know YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, they block the truth. So enough of it's gotten out where now I think that's where they're at. They're like, damn it, the coronavirus pandemic, scamdemic hoax didn't work. It's time to take nuclear options off the back burner. They may well be at that point because of the fact that the lid was blown off the virus bullshit, because of the fact that people are speaking against the dangerous, deadly vaccinations. That backfired on them. It didn't work like they hoped. So now that's all the more reason to believe that that's why they will now take the nuclear option off the back burner and utilize it, because their whole purpose is depopulation, world depopulation. They've said it openly. That's what they're about. We know that they've created their underground taverns with 2 years' supplies of food, with Walmart trucks going in by the dozens. They're ready for it. So absolutely, by all means, I believe it's coming. I do think. Not as fear-mongering. We hope it doesn't, but there's a very good likelihood it will when you understand it in the context of, again, the New World Order, one world government agenda of depopulation. And as you know, we could go down a whole other avenue of discussion with regards to where they're coming from, which I just want to bring this up for fun for the Republic, just to throw it out there, because I love bringing up the controversial issues. And it would be a question for the Republic. They say, and I agree with it, go back to the original Constitution. Well, at the original Constitution, this was a white man's nation. It was an Aryan nation. It was primarily Aryan, Caucasian, white, European stock people that created this nation. So the question could arise, let me put it like this. Let's say there's a place called China where there's all Chinese people. They're all Chinese. Is it right for me as a white man to go on over to China and get into their government and start telling the Chinese people what to do? No. Let's say there's a place in Africa called Sierra Leone that's all Negro black tribes. 100%. They're black. They have their way of doing things in their government. Would it make sense for me as a white man to move on over to Sierra Leone and get into their political and start telling them what to do? No. Then what's wrong with a white nation? Can there not be a white nation? That's one of the issues that is a big issue that is under attack, and it's been put into the psyops of humiliation and intimidation. There's plenty of people out there on the alternative platforms that are trying to address these issues of the Revelation 2939 Jews, the ones that own the banks and own the money and own Hollywood and own the politicians and own the mainstream churches and the television evangelists. There's plenty of people out there trying to address it. There's plenty of people out there trying to address the issue of racial integrity, racial preservation, all of these things. None of them make anybody a hateful, bigoted white supremacist, but that's the psyop the enemy has created. So that the people that do fall into that racial category of being Anglo-Saxon, European stock white men, first of all, we know that they've been under attack for the last several decades through the mainstream media. If you're white and you're Christian and you don't agree with their leftist, liberal, homosexual, gay marriage, transsexual, transgender, transhumanism agenda, if you don't say it's okay, all those things, and you're opposed to that, you're a white supremacist. You're a bigot. You're hateful. You're intolerant. So there is validity. There is absolute validity to the question of, where does, because it should be addressed. It's an honest discussion, and there's nothing wrong with the Republic addressing it. They should. When we say going back to the original Constitution, under the original Constitution, blacks didn't have the right to vote in this nation, and neither did women. And that's not to take away rights from women. I am absolutely of the position that the Chinese and a Chinese nation, only the Chinese should run their politics because it's their nation. And a black Negro nation or tribe in Africa or anywhere else in the world, only they should be running their politics because it's their nation. But it seems that wherever there's a white nation, they're endeavoring, first of all, to infiltrate that nation through the George Soros efforts of mass, immigration, literally using C-130 military aircraft to drop people off in the heartland of our country from all over the world, as long as they're not white. They can be Indian, they can be black, they can be Chinese, and let them infiltrate this once white nation of the United States of America. Are we not allowed to have our own nation? The enemy certainly does not want us to have our own nation. And that doesn't mean that we cannot be loving of all other races. Of course we love all other races. As you know, I'm of the position that there's actually a creator, Lord God Almighty, who created all of the unique, beautiful, different races and tribes and nations. But that's all contrary to the New World Order, One World Government agenda. That's what it's all about. Break down other nations, ship people all around the world, amalgamate the races, and take over and create now a depopulation agenda. Who were the majority of people that died in World War I and World War II?
Mike, we got a bunch of people who want to join in also, but just bounce in here. So bring them in the conversation.
Just expressing some thoughts. All right.
Yeah, no.
All right, I'm going to push next person. I don't have a number. I just got 111.
Yeah. Go ahead. How's it going? Yeah. Good evening. I want to agree with Mike. He first and foremost he put the God in front of everything, which was I respect the man that puts God before anything and everything. And to his point, there's a couple words, and I'm going to quote him that he said as far as the spear and the. He hit the nail right on the head with, we're only using the tip of the spear to attack our enemy, and that is very correct. But furthermore, what got me more is he's right. We do need to take the spear by the shaft and use force. We absolutely have to use force to get our point across. Now,
what do you mean use force? What do you mean use force? What do you mean? Well, we're just a non-violent. He did not preach violence at all. He did not expound on violence. He did not
preach violence, but he said it was a metaphor that he used, and I'm using it as well. Mike hit the nail on the head with what he said. We have to grab the shaft, and we have to stroke the shaft, and this is Dr. Peter Paul Ventura, and I approve of force.
All right. Okay, let's get rid of him. That's a clown right there, obviously. Let me start going down the calls here. Okay, we've got a bunch of private callers, so we've got to be careful with these private callers. So let me do this quickly. Go ahead. You're unmuted, private caller. All right. Okay. All right. They're coming out in force, attacking me tonight here, so we got to be careful here. All right. Next private. These are all numbers here that are blocked. They're private callers, and I don't know who's who. So one more. Go ahead.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
All right, there we go. Okay, so obviously the private callers here, they're blocking their numbers, and this is what you have. This is the society we have out there. This is what happens when you go live on Facebook, or if you've got an internet podcast show, you get these cronies out there who want to attack the podcast show and start putting words into what Mike said and twisting it around. That guy's a clown. He's called into this podcast. I should have recognized his voice, but it's been a while since he called in. But he's a complete idiot. He's one of them trolls out there that like to troll around and attack
the idiots
podcast
make it
shows.
fun, don't they? The idiots make it fun.
Yeah, yeah. They don't know what fools they make themselves out really to be. But yeah. Anybody else put their hand up? Press with number 1. The phone number is 336-657-383-0616. Press the number 1, and we'll connect you live. Obviously, we do connect you live. Otherwise, that would not have happened. But it just happened there. 210, area code 210. Go ahead. We'll connect you. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll see what happens here. Go ahead. 210.
Hello, Brother Joe. Hello. I really enjoy the program tonight.
Okay.
This is Eugene, and I was wondering what kind of winterizer should I be using on my lawn? Getting ready to go in the winter right now. What do you recommend?
Another asshole.
Unbelievable. Oh boy. I tell you something else. All right. Jim, you want to expound on what Mike had to say? Break that up a little bit, bring some a little more rational thinking here.
Well, the guy that identified himself as Dr. Peter Ventura, which I talked to Dr. Peter Ventura, I doubt seriously if that was him.
Yeah, we knew it was not him.
But he did make a couple of interesting points, and it was right along the lines of what we were talking about. Evil reigns until enough righteous people stand up. That's the whole conversation. That's you can debate the peripherals. You can identify the attacks of the enemy from the different ways they're attacking us. You can all of that, but that doesn't solve the problem. Okay, and correct. When enough righteous people stand up and become united, like Mike's analogy of the shaft, there has to be the force of good, righteous people pushing back against evil. That's the battle we're in from birth. That's the battle we'll be in until we die. We're just having a different battle this time. So far, it's not of guns. It's of the minds and of disinformation and of people attacking radio shows like we just experienced and all these other things. They're all identities of good versus evil. So when enough righteous people stand up, that's where we're at,
okay,
folks.
but when they do stand up, the righteous people, well, I think a good example. Or you said you like solutions. We get enough people to stand up. What solutions can they use? What in these big, large numbers? If we even get those large numbers,
it's a government up for and by the people. A lot of these questions that we've fielded over the years, Joe, are people looking to be guided. When the moral compass is the guide, and we have to re-inhabit. That means take back and build on from 1870. So all these laws, all these codes and statutes, all this is history. It's a real simple little constitution with a real simple little Bill of Rights and a very small government. And it's a government of, for, and by the people. So for me to answer these questions would be me imposing my thoughts or my prejudices on the will of the people.
Well, Jim, you're the governor. You're the governor of the free state of Colorado now, so you can't do that to me now. You can't say that because you are elected by the people.
A mouthpiece of the people.
Yeah,
you
represent
the people. That's right.
Yep, that's correct. So when we ask you questions, we're looking for your leadership. That's what we're doing. That's all.
Well, I'm trying to put a little of it back on the people that are looking, because it's their destiny. They've got to take control. they want to learn how to hold an assembly and get people together and do video podcasts and talk about it and read books and get educated and get on the solution page, we're all here. We've been here for
And
years.
Mike brought that point up. Actually, Mike, he brought that point up on his platform there the other night, where he stated, it's time for others out there to have their own meetings, to have their own Zoom calls, and to be, Mike, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Joseph. Yeah, thank you, because that's where I'm at. As I mentioned in summary, right, the concern I have about doing my national militia meetings is that it turns into a thing where everybody feels like, oh, they're coming to the national militia meeting, therefore they're doing something. No, the Zoom meeting doesn't mean diddly squat if people are not changing their own hearts, their own souls, getting right with God, and taking an initiative in their community to start organizing and uniting those same like-minded people. Now, we'd all do it under the umbrella of there's a state coordinator that's coordinating all those counties, and there's a national coordinator coordinating all those states. I mean, that's the most logical system. So by all means, and I was going to talk to you about that, Joe, because you were quick to point out in the meeting the other night, well, wait, Mike, I'm a representative in North Carolina, and I was just making the point, of course you are, Joe, but you've been at this for 10 years. Where are all the average Americans out there that are just getting involved, that are, where are all the people that voted for Donald J. Trump stepping up to say, yeah, man, I'll be a point of contact for this righteous movement in my county? It's mind-blowing to me, the lack of those people, and a great many of them are not for fear, plain and simple. And if they have fear, they don't really truly believe in the Creator God Almighty to begin with. So it is about that, which I'm going to get with you on that, Joe, private on the side. It's fine. Like I said, on the one hand, being a point of contact is just somebody that's willing to put their name, phone number, email address on the state page and on the militia directory, just so we know that there's somebody there people can contact. But, of course, it's another thing to say, okay, I'm going to be a state coordinator, where I'm going to start coordinating in my state. So I did plan on talking to you about that, Joe. We can talk about it later. If you're happy just to be a point of contact, which you are a great point of contact in North Carolina, or do you want to start really taking a proactive initiative to start getting all the counties in your state to organize under this, righteous army format?
Well, that's what we definitely do, but we have to coincide. I also want to bring up, while I got Jim and Justice Waters here, hopefully he's still here. I hope Mr. Hertler's here too. Are we recognizing the Republic as the lawful interim government? The Republic is, is this the de jure government here? That's waiting for the American people to take back the seats of government, that were abandoned in our history and the history of our country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll be the first to admit, obviously I put links to the Republic of the United States of America on our website, on the home page. Wherever I put the word Constitutional Republic, I linked it to their website, and I spelled it out, the Republic and I have a video of James Geiger, on our home page, so that people can look into it and read it for themselves. One of the problems I've been having, it's kind of twofold, and I'll admit it. I hate to say it even, but I'm just being honest. My eyes are starting to go on me pretty darn bad with regards to reading, and I don't like wearing glasses. And there's a whole bunch of stuff I need to read that I have not yet read. And the only way I'm going to be able to do it, the only way I could go about reading things is to actually print it out. Like just the other day, Charles in Texas, he's working now on putting together a common law court, to deal with the way to approach all these, political criminals who have been using this coronavirus concept to take people's rights away from them. And I'm going to, be, the foreperson to, push that complaint forward, and I'm going to ask a lot of others to join it with me in that complaint. But he asked, did you read what I sent you, Mike? And I printed out and showed him how the first page printed and the second page started disappearing. I ran out of ink, literally. And the only way I can really read something is if I print it out on my printer, and I print it all out, and I get some reading glasses and a yellow Sharpie and a pen, and I start reading through it line by line, very methodical, and make corrections and make additions. That's the only way I can do it. I can't just sit down on a computer and read. My eyes kill me. I'm losing You know, my sight's getting bad. Without glasses, I can't read. And I do have some glasses, but I can't use them on the computer. I need to sit down with paper in my hand. So believe it or not, and I've addressed this from time to time, for 2.5 years now, I have been 100% a political and social activist, period. 2 years with the BigVirusHoax.com and now several months with RighteousArmy.org, and I have not got one. I got many people sent me some very, very generous donations through the BigVirusHoax.com over a couple of years period's time because they appreciated the work I was doing there. But over the last few months I've been doing Righteous Army. That's been my primary effort. Not only has my mailing list gone down by 200 people, it's amazing to me, but I have not got not one donation to assist me. So I literally don't have money to buy ink for my computer, for my printer. Literally, I don't. I don't have a freaking penny to spare. I don't have one. My wife cleans offices in the evening, and I'm all day on the computer putting out memes on social media with what I'm doing. I don't have an income. I lost all my jobs because of the BS, and now I'm also stuck between a rock and a hard place because I was just telling somebody today, I cannot even get myself to pick up my guitar and try to go to some marina and play music anymore. How can I do that if I know they're spraying chemicals in the sky that are killing people and they're putting jabs out all across the world to kill people? I can't even put my mind in that frame of mind to go back to music. I'm stuck. I'm stuck as a political and social activist that's not making any money at all. It's a real hell of a place to be.
It's a powerful, because this is our country. This is our republic. These are our people. And, and it's powerful. It's very powerful. And everybody out there, go to RighteousArmy.org and support Mike. Look into it. Look into the website and check it out. I mean, he does these Zoom meetings. And look, we've got the Republic on here too. Republic for the United States.org. These are things that people need to check out, look into, come to your own decision where you want to stand in history in America, or what you think is the big fight out there. Do you want to go and play the Republican-Democrat game? Do you want to get caught up in the nonsense that's out there right now, or do you want to seek out truth and justice for your children and grandchildren, in the future?
Let me just say one last thing. Governor James did send me, when I first found out about the Republic, I had a lot of questions in my mind too. I want answers. I know I brought up some somewhat controversial ones a little while ago with regards to a white nation and all, but I like bringing that up just for the discussion and to see, what people's views are on that. Most people don't want to go there, but I'm not shy about discussing any controversial issue. I think it's just a matter of communicating and airing things out and discussing where we are and why we're where we're at, no matter what it might be. But Governor James did send me a PDF for the Declaration of Intent, a sovereign intent. And as of this point, I have, by faith and trust in James and Judge Waters, who are the two that I've spoken to the most, accepted their assertions and their statements to me that it's a document that was signed by several top-notch people that was submitted to The Hague and accepted by The Hague and 140 nations. So I haven't read it, number one, because I'm just trusting it. Number two, because, again, I haven't been able to print it out and read it, but I want to. In fact, honest to God, if I were to get a $60 donation tonight just because of doing this broadcast, I will use that money to go buy ink from my printer, and I'll print it out and start reading it because I've been wanting to read it. I literally haven't read it because of my eyes, the problems I'm having with my eyes, and the fact that I haven't been able to print it out, literally. I mean, I know that might sound crazy, but that's just the way my mind works. I have to print something out.
What kind of printer do you got?
Let me see. It's a, I'll tell you exactly what it is. I think what is it called? A powered HP Office Jet 3830. And it's like 30-something bucks for a cartridge that doesn't last too long. So, I don't even know if I'd get 140 pages out with one cartridge. That's why I said, in theory, if I got $60 tonight, I'd go buy 2 cartridges tomorrow.
Mike, HP 3830, right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll look on that there, and we'll see if we can get him some toner there for his printer, right, guys? I mean, come on, man. You know, I mean, this guy, you know. There's no reason why. I mean, you get a guy on the internet today who says he wants a sex change, and he'll raise $50,000 in 10 minutes.
Isn't that mind-blowing, brother? Isn't that that goes to my whole discouragement I was telling you. You know, people, the trash and the filth and the perversion, you can raise money for that all day. Try to do something godly or patriotic, poor.
Yeah, it is. It's sad. It's really, really sad. Justice Waters, you're out there. Anybody calls? What do you think? Do anybody screen any of these calls? Do we want to try taking calls again, or see what we can get out there? It's up to you guys. 317. I'll try 608. Let's try 608.
Probably thousands of people out there that got tons of money to listen to this, and they won't come up with $30 for you to get in there.
Incredible.
608.
Hello. Hi there. It's Jen calling from Southwest Wisconsin.
Okay.
A friend to the Republic, and in great stand. I'm sitting in my car seat here before going into the 501c3 church with which I have a relationship, of dear friends, although struggle a lot with that piece. Governor Henning has been a great inspiration. I've been listening to the calls for the last decade. I count Justice Waters and Governor Carpenter's as voices of comfort and wisdom. The work that you've done across this decade, it may sometimes feel like you're not, that the reach isn't that far, but it's deep. And there's still a lot of fear. I'll speak personally. I hesitate to put my name on a list. And I hear you, Mike, from the Righteous Army. That's not the strong sister believer that I want to identify as. The Hurtlers have been, again, great inspiration, deep friends, powerful elders, and I have accepted a role as the Secretary of State for the Free State of Wisconsin, although it's caught in the Senate and the House of Representatives, and I know there's a lot going on. I'm not pushing for it to go any faster because, frankly, I don't feel like I'm that crackerjack an administrator or that I know all that much about a Secretary of State role. However, we do need to read these documents. We need to understand them, and I think it would be so helpful to put them in an auditory form. I would speak them, and I have at times sat with documents because I, too, struggle to read at the computer. But if we could produce portions of this a bit at a time so that the people can digest it and sit with it. This is tough reading. This is a formidable endeavor. And anyway, thankful that you are here on the airwaves tonight and that I can hear you.
Jen, this is Dean. Thank you. And God bless you, sister, for coming on. And it was wonderful to see you and your husband and the young lady and their baby that you came for the face-to-face on October 1st. And thank you for your spirit.
Yes. Great momentum there, Governor. Great momentum. And when we reach out, as you did that day, to a picnic table of folks on their motorbikes for the weekend, and we saw a Let's Go Brandon T-shirt, the doors open up, and we discover that the people are, in fact, with us, but it is hard to penetrate and get more than a handful of views or to get a YouTube video to go viral. Maybe we need resources who specialize in that search engine optimization stuff. And I get the feeling Mike at the Righteous Army is a real savvy webmaster and understands how to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. We're going to get there. It's coming.
Can I comment on that real quick? Just quick.
Yeah, we're on the same.
Quick.
I'm sorry, Mike, to interrupt, but yeah, I just want to respond quick. We've been doing this 12 years. We volunteered our time, and we're struggling too financially, and I understand, and we pray for that, brother. And it seems like God always provides just enough We're never hungry, that's for sure, and I'm thankful that our Father God provides for us under His grace. But I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Amen.
No, yeah, that's a great point too. The Creator works in strange, funny ways sometimes. Like you said, He provides enough for you to be thankful, to make sure that you can, prove that you're a thankful person.
He's never early, but He's never late.
Right. I'm just waiting for Him to bless me as being that, $500 million Powerball winner, so that I can send, a few million over to the Republic, send a few million over to Joe. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'd be doing with it, man, is supporting all the top leading causes. So everybody could pray for me to win it, because I'm the one guy on the planet who would do that, and that's a fact. I say it by God as my witness. So, I was going to just comment on that great comment Jen made there. When she said recording, what a great! I thought about that myself, and in fact, when I do print out the 141 pages, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read it in video format, even if I just black the video out where it's audio. I'm going to read it. That does need to be done. We need more. Yeah, we need more and more of these things to be where people can just listen while they're driving down the road. So I do plan on doing that with that document. Once I print it out and start reading it, I'm going to record. In fact, my dad loves to read. My dad puts his glasses on. He'll be sitting in his chair, and he's good at reading. He's good at reading out loud. So it might be a great opportunity for me to video record my dad. I mean, he's 81. Hope he stays with us, another couple decades. But you never know. We all check out eventually, and that would be great for me to have video of my dad reading the DSI. I'll just video record him reading it out loud. I think I'll do that. You want to do that, Pop?
Sounds good.
All right, he'll do it.
Sounds
That's
great.
awesome.
And Mike, that conversation you just had right there with your dad, this show's archived. And yes, by all means, we pray that you and your dad will, remain here to, on earth at least, and enjoy your time together. But when you go, you'll be a Father and Lord in heaven, in a much better place. But the memories. This is what I'm talking about. The networking together, Patriots together. This is we don't always have to be talking about the nuclear war stuff and stuff like that. The community, the Patriot community, coming together and acting in a positive way with each other, and instead of tearing each other apart. We do a lot of that. That's for sure. And because we feed into the psyop, like you said, of what they try to teach us from birth on to death, in this new world order that they're creating. The evil one has got a lot of tricks, and that's why I'm so blessed to have the Republic here on my podcast show. And talk about these great things that we, the government, talk about the law, the great patriots throughout the years that I've met, and it's been nothing but positive for me, I think, because all the great people that I've met throughout the years, and a lot have come and gone, and some come on the podcast show. People I've met on this podcast show, the shows that we've done, and Jim, that firsthand. We've had some powerful podcasts on here. I had him call me after the podcast show. Joe, that was, we talked for hours after the show, So, it's great.
Yeah, there was one show we crashed your servers twice, I think.
Yeah. It's happened. It definitely has happened. Anybody else here before we start getting ready to wind it down here? Solutions is always. We always want solutions. I'm one of those guys that always want solutions. I'm always, poking the tiger, I guess you could say, like Jim likes to say, or poking the bear. But I want to hear solutions, man.
Yeah, Joe. I want to say one thing just for edification for everybody. It's funny how. Why? So on one of my videos, I think it was a National Militia Meeting 38, I got a message from somebody. I should read the message, but it was pretty harsh. Like, what are you doing on the internet? Speaking a bunch of trash, blah, 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 you loser, MSA, get out of here, kind of thing. Right, a very negative comment. And I'm like, how? How are comments negative coming in on a video like this, right? It makes no sense to me. So I commented back, because he said, that
something about I ain't doing nothing, I'm not doing nothing. So I commented back, I've done, probably more in the last 2 years because I know how much I've done with the big virus and Righteous Army, than you've spoken, through your whole life kind of thing. And he wrote back, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I've done. I said, well, I'm not saying you're a coward, but if you're not, and you're not just a big talker, call me. Right? And I'll put my phone number on there, and I put, the Zoom. I said, let's do a Zoom. Let's discuss it. Because I know that in the social media realm, it's easy. I've always said that strictly written communications are easy for people to misinterpret, misunderstand, get the wrong vibe. Whereas if you sat down with a person and you're shaking their hand and looking them eye to eye, it's going to be a totally different experience. So I recognize that often on the internet, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or comments on videos, even the people that wise ass comments, even the callers that called in earlier being wise asses, if any one of us had the opportunity to meet them, at a coffee house and sit down and have a drink and communicate, we'd probably agree on a whole bunch of things and maybe disagree on some things, and we'd be like two human beings talking. You know what I mean? So it's easy to get caught up in, and people do all the time, these little trivial, back and forth on the internet. But today, I wrote him. I said, call me, and my phone rang, unknown number, and it was him. He says, yeah, I'm the guy on BitChute. I said, hey, brother, how you doing? I said, man, I really appreciate you calling. He's the first one of all the people that ever made negative comments who did call me. I've had a lot of negative comments, and I always tell people to call me. So he called, and I went on, my little spiel, which I could do, just kind of explaining everything I've done with the big virus and the Righteous Army and where I'm coming from. And then, now, of course, we were having a good, friendly conversation. It was a totally different reality. Although, of course, he did say that he doesn't believe anything on the internet or the TV. It's all BS. It's all a lie. It's all retarded. What he believes in is health, right? About healing. He thinks people need to heal themselves from all the poison. And of course, I agree with him on that, right? So he's not into the internet. He's not into republics or USA or Patriot or religion or church or Christ or nothing really. But at the same time, he did admit to me that his whole life, his mother was a drug addict. His father was a drug addict. He grew up as a drug addict, and he was selling dope on the streets. That was his life. That's all he knew. He thought that's what life was. But he's in a higher place now for himself in his own realm. Now he said he's about healing. He quit all that. He's trying to do the right thing with his life. And I told him, I said, brother, that's a great testimony. I mean, you could have your own platform, and encourage and motivate others, people in a positive way, just like you've changed your life around. He says, yeah, but I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want to be. And I said, that's fine. You could just do it person to person in your community as well. That's fine. So, different strokes for different folks. But I just wanted to point out that, the guy called me. We had a very friendly, amicable conversation. And so, sometimes even these loons that call your show, Joe, take it with a grain of salt, because most likely if we sat down with any number of them.
I know the saying, I don't go to church because there's a bunch of hypocrites there. Yeah, but you go to Walmart, right. Yes. You go to Home Depot, yeah, well, the hypocrites there, right? So, it's they don't make no sense, Yeah. But we got some other people here with their hands up. So we'll try, let's see, 506, try you out one time.
Well, I have a question for everyone on the panel. First of all, I want to say, God bless all. I'm for the militia. But my question, first of all, is for Mike. Mike, are y'all seriously afraid of going out in public because of the virus and because of the gases in the air? Is that what you said?
Afraid to go out in public? No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to go out in public at all. No, not at all. I pointed out that they are clearly spraying chemicals in the sky above, chemtrails. There's no question about that. But again, I believe in the Creator, Lord God Almighty, who protected Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego walking through a flame of fire, so He can protect me from their fumes in the air. But the fact that they're doing it is wrong. And so to the extent I'm just standing up for my fellow human beings, men and women, I pointed out, I point to what's evil and wrong and corrupt in this world, and I call it out.
Well, here's the point I'm going to make right now. I mean, y'all don't believe in the virus, right? I mean, y'all know that ain't real, right?
Well, first of all, I will say, we're all pretty savvy here, and this sounds like one of the kind of crank calls that are coming in, which I'm fine to deal with. But there's absolutely no such thing as a
here's what I'm
virus.
going to say, man. Stop being such a little bitch and go outside to the street.
You're off.
Wait, let him go. No, let him talk. Let him talk.
All right.
God damn it. Stop. You too, Joseph, man. I'll have my words with you too, man. Don't make me force you to shit in the dryer now. But anyway, why are you so afraid?
Listen, you were addressing. This is Mike. You were addressing me. So let me just tell you, if you're distraught and confused over the virus issue, I'd encourage you to go to thebigvirushoax.com, and if you can read and comprehend pretty well, digest what's there, and you'll be a new man in a few months' time. So I would encourage you to educate yourself on the issues.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean if I can read? Because y'all the ones that says I got to print some to read, but yet you say you're on the internet all day, all night making the memes with your reading. That's kind of like an oxymoron, if you ask me. You're an and a moron. Because what do you mean?
Actually, I'm going. Well, hold on now. I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit of an accent, too, just for fun. And what I'm saying is I don't know. I don't know if you can read or not. Maybe you can. I'm just saying if you can, get on over to thebigvirushoax.com and educate yourself a little. That's all I'm saying, my brother.
You want me to educate myself, but you're afraid of the virus. You're afraid of the Smith.
He's all right. We don't need to go round and round with him. Let's disconnect him right here.
Yeah, now you can let him go.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them. 407. Let's go to 407. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Sally from American Statesman. How are you doing tonight? Sounds like you got a rowdy crowd out there.
Yeah.
Earlier on the show, you made the comment about Trump being the Speaker of the House and being the president. Technically, that could happen. Whether it's going to is another story, but technically it could. Just like, think about who's going to be the next president for right now, because we know Biden's not going to last 2 years. It'll be amazing if he lasts through the beginning of the year, whatever. And whether he resigns, then we get good old Harris out there, and then she knows she can't do the job. She gets a VP, and then she resigns. We're definitely in some crazy times, and Lord only knows who could end up being the president of this United States without an election. It really is crazy. But I would still go for Trump. Trump being Speaker of the House, he could truly do more as Speaker of the House as he ever could do doing the president. But who knows if that'll ever happen? It's one of those things that technically could happen.
So look, Trump. I don't know, Mike. What's your opinion on Trump or Jim or anybody else out there? Obviously, she supports Trump, loves Trump, or think that Trump.
Hold on. Cut the crap on that one. Trump is a nationalist, not a globalist, and that's a very big deal. Trump, whether you like Trump or not, he's the one who's managing to rally people together. And you better think about the power that has, because all these groups, such as what you guys are doing, as you said in the beginning of the show or earlier in the show, we have groups all over the place that are all doing their own thing. They all want to be in charge. Nobody can get everybody together. If we don't get everybody together, that united we stand kind of stuff, we ain't going to survive.
You're absolutely correct. But I supported Trump in the beginning with a lot of things that he did do, and believe me. But all that voting for lesser of two evils. I mean, I just can't. I'm tired of that. Aren't you?
Well, yeah. I don't like voting for the lesser of two evils either. And we talked, as you know, not last night, but the week before, we had the Convention of States. What we can truly do to take this country back right now, I think we better think about what we can truly do. I mean, I can go out there and stand on the corner and jump up and down, but that's not going to do any good. But by myself, it ain't going to do any good. Trying to get all these groups, just like you guys. I don't have a group. I do the blog talk, and I try to share information. That's what I'm attempting to do out there, because I am not rich. I'm not a wealthy person. I can't be. I can do what I can do. I go out there, and I've been trying. Me and some of these others have been trying to wake up people for the past 10, 15 plus years to say Agenda 21 is real, And of course, the conspiracy case. And when anybody tells me they think it's all a conspiracy case and all this other stuff, I said, well, do you think Hitler was a conspiracy case, or do you think it really happened? Was the Holocaust real?
Well, let me answer that one.
Can
Can I answer that one real quick? I encourage you. What's your name, Miss? The speaking?
I have American Statesman as my blog talk show.
What's your name?
Sally. I already said that. What part
Sally.
of it do you not understand? Don't be insulting to me.
Sally. No, I asked what your name was. Right, Sally. Right, Sally. First of all, let me encourage you. You like information, so there's a video, 12 hours historical documentary called Europa: The Last Battle, and I highly recommend and encourage you to watch it. It's the top video at thebigvirushoax.com on the videos page. It's also the top video on the videos page at righteousarmy.org. It's 12 hours. I've watched it twice. My father watched it. He's 81. My son's 30. He watched it. Many people I've suggested watched it several times over. It's the most educational video you'll ever watch on the issue of World War I, Hitler, World War II, and all of those issues. I just want to say with regards to Trump, like Joseph, I was truly Trump's greatest supporter. I mean, there's a song called Trump Train. It's an original song. There were a lot of songs that came out called Trump Train.
Do I have a chance to speak here, or am I going to be lectured here? Because I didn't vote for Trump the first time. I did vote for him the second time. I don't know who's going to be out there in 2024. I'm telling you, whether you like Trump or not, he is bringing an awful lot of people together. He is, whether you like it or not. And I don't know anybody else that's out there who can do it right now. Show me. I don't totally agree with everything he does. Trust me, I don't worship the guy in that sense. Get over that part.
Yeah, the point I wanted to make about Trump is two things. First, they've already proven with the 2020 election that we don't have a legitimate voting system. They can drag and drop votes, period. That's all there is to it. Until we go back to paper, thumbprint, identification, I'll never vote again until it's paper, thumbprint, and right. Because they've proven it. It's a rigged, faulty voting machines, period. So there's no reason to vote. It's a fraudulent system. Number two, as far as Trump goes,
do nothing. That's good.
I would encourage you to consider secondary reasons as to why he's uniting and organizing people. And frankly, you can see just about everybody who's united and organized is now being labeled as white supremacists and bigots and hateful and intolerant, and that's by design. So he was commissioned to get out there and rally patriots and conservatives.
No, hang on.
And if not, he wouldn't be working. He wouldn't be working. He wouldn't be pushing a deadly, dangerous vaccine.
Then do nothing.
He wouldn't have filled his cabinet with Zionist
Do you
views.
truly think what you're doing right now is being effective? Do you truly think what you're doing now is being effective?
A what?
If you're condemning somebody who's bringing people together, I don't like I have condemned Trump so many times. Go out there and listen to my blog talk shows and see what I've said about Trump in the past. But he is uniting people with a common cause.
Right, and
I can't see all the groups like you guys. I don't see all these groups coming together. I want to know the top people in all these different groups. How often do they talk to each other and try to come together and unite across this country?
Well,
I don't see it happening.
We meet 3 times a week, actually, for 4 times, including my show. So
how many
are,
people you got all together?
Why do numbers matter? Why do numbers matter? Well, I'd rather hang on. I'd rather have 10 solid, strong people than 100 suckers who are going to sell out to the Federal Reserve and sell out for $1 or sell their soul to the devil. Right?
Well,
right?
I love the fact that, hey, I want to take back this country, and if you to say anything different to me would be an insulting, and you better be careful not to insult me, because I don't appreciate that. I'm out there fighting, and I've been fighting this fight for a long time. I've been out there trying to do it the peaceful way, the right way, and I don't believe in a convention of states, as we discussed a week ago, because I know they're too corrupt. But I don't see you guys moving the ball down the field here either. I hate to tell you that, but I don't see it. And what I've heard tonight doesn't prove a whole lot either.
Sally, hang on. Can I ask a question now? Because hang on. What do you mean, you guys? I don't understand. What do you mean now? Can you elaborate a little more?
Well, what the discussion I've been hearing. The very beginning of the show, I was listening to the preparation, and we better be ready for a nuclear war. We better understand that there's a war going on this homeland right now, whether you want to admit it or not. How the communists have taken over half of this country, whether you like it or not. Why they can have control our food supply, whether you like it or not. Whether you got the idiots like Bill Gates out there buying up all the farmland. We are under attack right this moment.
I agree.
But at the same time, people are going to say, well, I'm not going to vote because I know that the election's corrupt. Go read. Have you had the Battle of Athens? Did you ever do you know about the Battle of Athens in Tennessee in 1946? Corruption back then, too. But they didn't stop. They actually went back and went after the ballot box. That's what we're supposed to be doing. If we have no choice to vote, then what are you even wasting your time? If we have no vote.
Well,
if we're going to give up.
Obviously,
I hear people surrender.
You're just voting. You're only voting for a president of a corporation to begin with. You're not voting for a president for the republic to begin with.
You know, this is where you guys got to realize. Okay, 1871, the U.S. corporation. Yes, I know about that too. Gosh, wow. Some of us have taken time to study some of this stuff. It's not just you guys doing this.
We're not saying you don't know about it, but why follow a system then and believe in a system that's crooked and broken? There's no deals with the devil.
So you're going to sit on the sidelines on November 8th and play dumb and do nothing because you don't totally trust the election system. Instead of doing something to fix it or monitor it or call it out, you're going to sit on the sidelines and do nothing, and that's going to help.
Broken, Sally, how can I
actually? You're doing something. You're doing something by not participating in their fraud.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Stand on the sidelines. Yep. Stand on the
I don't think we're on the sidelines. I don't think we're on the sidelines. That's like me calling you saying you're on the sidelines. You know, I'm just disagreeing with the way you're going about it.
Well, I think. Well, wish you guys some luck. I'm out here as a patriot trying to do stuff too. What I'm listening to most of what I've heard on this show tonight, you're not helping the cause any. Telling people that how you better be prepared. There is a war coming on. People better be prepared for a war. I personally think we're under attack already. COVID was a bioweapons attack on this country and on the world. That is my take on COVID and the vaccine. And who was there? And what have I said? Okay, Trump, how did you facilitate this process? Because you thought you were doing something righteous, I believe. I don't know. But whatever. I mean, I was calling here trying to join in on some of the discussion, but instead it seems like it's more of an attack on me personally. I don't know why.
No, nobody's attacking you. Nobody's attacking you. No, you're taking a different viewpoint. We're having a discussion.
We're having a discussion. You have the right. But to go out there and not vote and act like that's going to prove something, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry, and I've told that to other people right now.
Who's attacking who? Who's attacking who now? I didn't say your way was ridiculous. You said our way was ridiculous, and I believe.
No, I was being told to vote was a waste of time. Initially, I was being told voting would be a waste of time, is what I was told. Right now, and I don't believe the Republicans are going to save the world either. It's going to be the American people who are going to save it. But I do think it does. I do believe we should still honor the ballot box.
If we're divided without God, first of all, we need God, okay, and we got to get back to the. What's that?
Now, as many times as you listen to my show, do you think I don't believe that? What do I do? I typically start the show with a Pledge of Allegiance. And how many times do I say one nation under God?
Again, we're not trying to.
Okay. I've had enough. I don't really know where you guys are going here. Good luck.
Well, this is what's wrong with the Patriot community right here.
I don't get it. I'm not getting anything out of this conversation with you.
I'm not. Well, you're
what
like
I told people last night is on are people going to get engaged in their government to take it back? I don't see you guys telling people to go out there and get engaged and take their government back and call their different.
Okay, so what do we do, Sally? What do we do? Tell us what to do. Tell us what to do then. You tell us what's your answer, solution then.
Do nothing, just like you guys are doing. Sounds good.
Come on.
No. I'm going to vote. I said vote.
You're
on election day. Vote
How
on
has
election
that worked
day.
out for you since 1871?
How
has
on
that worked
election
out
day.
for you?
And then what we're going to see, election day is going to be a telling point as to whether these people are engaged.
How has voting worked out, though, to this day so far for you?
Well, it obviously didn't work out in 2020, where we proved. Why do you think they were going after Trump? What do you guys think? Now, this, and I've said this on my show, and I'm sure you've heard it. First, and I ran for office years ago, and guess what? The machines were crooked back then too. But it was a small local office. It was a local office position, so nobody wanted to do it. And of course, the elections are corrupt. So the elections are corrupt. So instead of fixing the elections, let's just leave them the way they are.
You can't. But
so let me have a piece of this conversation, Joe.
Yeah. Hang on, Jim. Jump in here, please, Jim. Go ahead. Jump in here. Can we have another party jump in here, please, Sally? Go ahead.
Hi, Sally. This is Governor Carpenter from Colorado Free State. Welcome to the show tonight. I appreciate your spirit. And, I've been sitting back listening, and you're one of us. You pledge allegiance to the Republic. You recognize the law of nature, and nature's God. You recognize we have a problem, and you recognize that we're struggling, and you're a bright lady. And so kudos to you, and don't feel like you're under attack here. Let me give you a what if. What if the people organized enough under law to be able to put the world on notice and then carry out through the years by educating the American people to the point of where we are today, and on the next election, you had a chance to go over to vote for a new government of, for, and by the people based on the original Constitution, not the corporation that's in control today. Or you could get in that other line and go vote for the next international president of the United States. And in the Republic system, you get a paper ballot and you put a red thumbprint on it. Do you think the American people might be interested in that scenario?
I'm not sure exactly where you're going. Somehow I've totally lost the point of what you're saying.
You totally lost me. If there was an alternative,
election, who's ever listening here, go out there and listen to what I've been saying for the past 10 plus years on my blog talk show. Go listen to what I've been saying and what I've been promoting and what I have been
simple question.
This is the problem with
you won't even answer my question. You're the one attacking my show and the people that I represent.
I don't understand. You're wanting me to put a phone print on something? I was missing your point.
So you wouldn't participate or go for a transitional election to get out of the corporation and into the constitutional republic. And you would think that I'm a fool for even suggesting that. Am I reading you correctly, Sally?
I have been telling people about the corporation and how we have to stop it.
So answer my question. Would you participate in a transitional election?
Sure I would.
Okay, that's a simple question.
Where are you going to have this election?
Well, we need people to hold it, don't we? That's my oath. It's to see the people get that chance. That's the only point that I've been given by the people I represent, is to get a lawful election going. Okay?
That's what we're trying to do, Sally.
My authority lives there. So you want to participate or you want to find fault?
I want to take back this country.
We have
and I want a real
power.
solution of how you're going to take it back.
Well, it's a government up for by the people. So you're only one person.
How are you going to do it?
By getting your help, Sally, on rallying the American people to vote in the Republic. We all got to work together to make that happen.
We can't do it attacking each other. We've got to come to a common ground and say we got to try this and go and run with it and put our best efforts with God first and an honest effort. Trying to fix a corrupt system that's broken, that's made all deals with the devil across the board globally, let alone in this country, is not going to fix it. It's insanity. We're repeating the same mistake over and over, voting on a corporate de facto president that's going to make us a bunch of promises that he's not going to keep. I just don't see that. That's a waste of time. That's insane.
Well,
that's
and Joe, I would go back to you were listening a couple weeks ago, a week ago, the Convention of States. Now we have this thing called the Constitution, and it does have Article 5, Convention of States. And if we could really do what it's supposed to do, we could take back our country through a convention of states. We could take back our country through actually applying the Constitution. But the way we're doing it right now, there's a group of people trying to do this convention of states, which will, I believe, destroy the Constitution. They'll put it through a shredder. So I don't want to convince.
Yeah, let me say, Sally, I agree with you on that, and I listened to your show last week. You let me come in and make a few comments too, and I believe Alex really nailed it, and you were great hosting your show. I enjoyed it tremendously. You're right. It's not about conventions of states. They'll use that to actually reverse what we do have going for us. They'll use it to take away the Second Amendment, actually. So that is not the answer. I did want to say on your show last week, too, that I didn't have a chance to say about, the other thing about term limits, because I think you also agreed that term limits isn't the answer. And, I mean, on the one hand, I like the idea of, term limits because then they can't, over decades get, owned by the corporations. However, at the same time, what if you do have somebody great in there that's working for the people? You'd like to have them in there longer. So it's not about term limits. What it ultimately comes down to is politicians should not be able to receive money, period, from corporations. They can't be bought out. That way they won't be doing the bidding of the corporations because the corporations can't pay them to do their bidding. So I think the answer doesn't lie with term limits. It lies with politicians not being able to receive money, period. They shouldn't be able to receive money. That's bribery. That's like legalized bribery in politics.
Well, half the money they get now is it is bribery. That's true, and I've said that all along too. The term limits can be a good or a bad because if they know that they don't have to go for re-election, then they're apt to do a lot of other things that they really don't even care, that they think they won't get caught for. There's definitely corruption. It's the best. Have you ever heard of the book "Best Government Money Can Buy"? That's what we have. The best government money can buy. We have a very corrupt government. Nancy Pelosi, yes. How do these people go into public office and come out millionaires? Okay, you're right. They shouldn't be making money. And on my own self, when I said term limits, how many years should any individual be in public office, period? Because that's how they work their way up. They start locally, and by the time they ever get up to D.C., they've already been in public office for 20-something years. They've already built a network all the way through the whole process. We have a very corrupt government, and we have to get back to the education as a big part of the problem. Why? Well, if you expect to be ignorant and free, you expect what never was and never will be. Thomas Jefferson. We dumbed down. I believe somebody was talking about the dumbing down of Americans earlier. Yes.
We're in OT now, so we've got to go on closing thoughts, everybody. Closing thoughts to tonight's podcast. So everybody take a couple minutes, take a deep breath, and say what you want to say. And those of you on the line right now, if you want a closing thought, press number 1, and I'll bring you on here. Sally, how about I start with you? Go ahead.
Hey,
well,
Joe,
united we stand and divided we fall. We are facing some very troubled times, and people. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Hang on. What's that? Somebody's trying to interrupt. What's that?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Dean. I have a commitment. I have to step away, but I'll leave my phone on. I'll leave it running here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to hear it from everybody.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Sally. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, yes, united we stand, divided we fall. Our country is in turmoil. It's under attack. People need to understand that. The risk of a nuclear war, very much out there, but we are already under attack, and that COVID was all part of that attack. And we need to face the fact that our country is being taken over. And it is up to the good people to come together and stand united. The sad part is we've got a lot of people who have a lot of different ideas, and we can't seem to totally bring the good people together. And this is, again, like it or not, Trump has been able to bring people together much more than people want. I would much rather these people be doing the same thing without Trump out there, but they are rallying him, and they are showing that people are coming together much more united. He has done something, whether people like it or not, or want. I'm not saying I'm some big fan of his. I did not vote for him the first time, and but I did the second time. I don't know that I want him running in 2024. But we need to be able to take what he has done in bringing people together and somehow get the rest of us all together. There's more Americans who want to save this country than there are those who want to destroy it, if we can figure a way to come together and work together. Well, that being said, good conversation. Thank you for taking the call. And dear Lord, help us. God bless America.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can I follow on that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just because... Again, with all due respect, Sally, who, again, I love you. I heard your show, and I think you're great with your show, and you're on the same team. We all do need to come together. But when Sally mentions the thing about Trump bringing people together, not only have I pointed out that in itself could be nefarious in itself, right? Identify, get the conservatives and the Christians all, so that, because ultimately, center-right people that believe in the Second Amendment, the Constitution, they are the enemy and the blockade for a new world order, one world government. They're the obstacle. So what better plan than Trump get out there, baby, and get them all out of the woodwork? What president ever did rallies all through his presidency? It was like almost scripted. Get out there and rally them. We need to see who we're up against. How many are there? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their numbers? How many extremists can we pull out of there, like with January 6th and with little psyops to get the FBI invading people that think that they're militia and they're going to come up against us? How many can we get? Help us get those obstacles out of the way, Trump. I mean, actually, that's a good reason for him to rally people, considering that he also pushed the deadly vaccine and, again, filled his cabinet with New World Order people. So aside from that, we can say Trump rallied the people. We can say Obama rallied the people. His first term, all of America, right? Oh, the first black president. But what good was he? He was a total disaster. So there's always a nefarious agenda behind these selected presidents. If we don't go, look, that's why we have to, somehow or another, this thing has to get to the point where what the Republic stands for is the Republic, the original Constitution. Short of Jesus Christ coming back in the clouds of glory, which I'm all for it, I'm just approaching life as if we're supposed to be doing something. And since I'm approaching it like we need to be doing something, I'd be voting for somebody through the Republic before I'm going to be voting for somebody in some rigged election that's on behalf of a corporation. So I yield. Thank you, Joe. You had a great show tonight. Appreciate you all. Thanks, James and Republic, Judge. Love you guys. You all have a great night. God bless. I'll be hanging around to hear your outing prayer.
RighteousArmy.org, everybody. RighteousArmy.org. Check it out. Jim, go ahead.
Great show tonight, Joe. Thank you for allowing us the platform to reach out. I appreciate Sally and Mike and everyone that came. I miss hearing Sarge and Dr. Ventura and some of the people who used to come on. But you know what? I know God's working in the background. And at the end of the day, it's our future individually as to what we want to do with it. And all patriotic Americans lean on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And whether they realize it or not, that is the law form of the laws of nature and nature's God, as the Constitution, Bill of Rights describes. So why people can't come together in the one thing that they agree on? Well, the churches have preached the rapture, so the rapture is going to happen, so I don't need to own it. That's where my future is. And hey, if that happens, golden parachute, I'm in. Man, everybody's in for himself, On the other hand, if it don't happen, what does that picture look like? So does that mean we need to go unprepared? Then there are those that think that Donald Trump's the savior. And so they worship Donald Trump and Q and the White Hats. And, those people are just like the first group. They're looking for something to be given to them. And at the cross, it was finished. And God said, I came to set man free. So, it was done. Our liberty was given to us. It's who do we choose to serve? And there's two jurisdictions, man's jurisdiction and God's jurisdiction. And it's real simple, folks. If it ain't God's jurisdiction under common law, if it's man-made jurisdiction under UCC and corporate law, then it's real simple. You ought to be able to answer that question. So it's not hard. And if we just decided who we wanted to serve and came together so that we could organize and have a government of, for, by the people, a representative government, then we have what we all want. And we pick up from 1870 and we address it and we build on it from there. In the meantime, our numbers get smaller and smaller because of death and war and COVID and all the other things that's going on in our world today. And it's time, folks, and this is our hill, and this is a hill we're going to pass on to posterity. And there are solutions in the works. All we got to do is take the first step and go and sign up for receive mail from the Republic and join in, donate your efforts, help us organize so that we can have and enjoy the freedom through transitional elections and a government of, for, and by the people. That's all we're trying to do tonight here. And we've been trying to do for decades. So join the fight. Welcome. This is your reality. Thanks, Joe. I'll yield.
All right, thank you. All right, private caller. I don't know if this is Sergeant or not. Go ahead, private caller.
Hey, Joe, how's it going? This is Ronnie. I just want to say that I agree with that cunt, Sally. She's completely right. She might be
All right, here we go. We got a couple of jerks out there. I'm trying to see if there's a Sergeant. Private, no. Go ahead. Private 210. Nope. Okay, 210. You're off. Next. Okay. Well, I think so. Let's see. Anybody else got their hand up here? They're going. Let's see here. I lost a couple callers there on that one. There. I apologize if you got dumped there by accident. Let me see here. Go down the line here. Brent, next. How about you?
Hello, guys. This is Doug Fiorilda. Hey, guys. It's Doug. I'm a political activist. I specialize in family law. And a lot of these Democrats, to get the votes, I mean, a lot of this, there's feminism behind it and the Me Too movement. And, it all ties together that men are not able to discipline and lead the family. And that's why we're leading the men's right movement. And also the reason that Joe got banned from Gold's Gym because he...
All right, here we go. Okay, you're off. There we go. Okay. Oh, boy, they put a lot of energy into that, let me tell you.
Well, let's turn it over to Mark Blinder, closing her out.
Man, oh man, let me tell you. Well, it was a good show here tonight, everybody. Sally, thank you for participating. That was great. Your contribution here towards. I wish you were on for the entire podcast. You're giving your contribution, and like Mike said, you do a great podcast show, and of course I'll be tuning in like I always do and try to participate as much as I possibly can. And that's what we have to do: network together. Keep networking. Use this internet. Use the information war to our advantage instead of against ourselves. And that's what really we have to do. The tools are here. And Mike, we're gonna try to get you that toner for your printer there as soon as I hang up here. We'll look it up here and maybe we'll talk here after the show maybe. But other than that, guys, God bless our republic and take care.
Thank you so much.
Joe.